Agile is figuring out the most effective way of delivering an outcome. That's really what I think Agile is all about. It's not about doing things in a particular way. It's just genuinely getting rid of bureaucracy, getting rid of our attachment to a particular way of doing things, and just figuring out the best way or the most effective way of delivering an outcome. And I think we humans have been doing this for a very, very long time, probably since we first figured out that it was better for us to collaborate to get things done rather than do things individually. This program here, which I was watching recently, just has a really great example of the difference between the two approaches. We have the same scenario, two different approaches. One team is going to approach this in a command and control way, a bureaucratic, autocratic leadership kind of way, and another one is going to apply what I would consider an agile approach. Let's have a look at what they're supposed to be doing and what they're trying to achieve.
It's the candidates' third day of selection. Tomorrow, they'll find out who will make it through to training and who will be asked to leave.
So they're going to be put into two teams, and this is the first team. She's going to describe what they're a group of people here who are observing, who are judging, reviewing, and they're going to be explaining what the task is. And these are tasks. All the tasks that they're doing are taken from the actual manual that was used to train these spies back during the Second World War.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the pond test.
Their mission, taken from the original SOE syllabus, is to get the entire team to a platform in the middle of the pond and return with a wireless radio.
You may use any equipment that you can find in the vicinity of the pond. The nominated...
And this is really important because she says quite clearly that you can use anything that you find in the vicinity of the pond. It is interesting that this first team is not going to listen to that, and they're just going to use what is in front of them, what is actually there, that is visible, that is the traditional way of delivering an outcome, or delivering an output in this case.
Leader is Dewhurst. Carry on.
Dan Dewhurst's team, made up of half of the candidates, will be first to take on the task. The rest wait their turn, unable to observe.
Obviously, we don't know what the task is. I think we should choose a leader just in case there isn't one chosen for us.
Whoever is going to be the leader, then we've all got to respect that and let that person lead.
Although there's not a lot of ego in that second team, we will find a little bit of ego in the first team. Although there's not a lot of ego in that second team, they are still a little bit focused on the traditional ways of leading, which is one person commanding what other people do.
We're going to tie a rope like this around one end, another one around the other end, and then we're going to do a crisscross as well. Yeah. So we're going to really bind these well. How much rope have we got?
SOE selectors were always interested in people who demonstrated strong leadership.
Yeah, I'll make sure it's...
And it's interesting, of course, is that here in this example, the assumption is that strong leadership means commanding and controlling the situation.
In the field, agents could be required to inspire and run large guerrilla resistance armies. In 1943, Agent Francis Camerz, a teacher before the war, established an SOE network in Provence. He soon gained a reputation as one of the most outstanding leaders in SOE's ranks, and by D-Day had a force of over 10,000 local resistance fighters armed and waiting for the order to attack the occupying Nazis.
So there we go, a teacher using the SOE principles, which is you figure out what you need to do, you figure out how to do it. We're telling you what we want you to do, but you go ahead and figure out how to do it because you're the one in the field. You're the one who knows what is going on. And the fact that he was able to get together an army of 10,000 volunteers, I suspect was not done by him being a command and control, talking kind of guy. He would actually need to inspire his team to get together. I'd like to find out more about him and how he was able to do that and what his leadership style was. But let's get back to Team 1 here.
The occupying Nazis.
Dewhurst I wanted to give him an opportunity because he's been straining at the leash to take the lead, to show us what he's made of.
This isn't going to hold, so I'm going to go round once more, and then we're going to get the other log to stay on the other side. Everything needs to be taut. I don't want any loose piece of rope on this kid.
And in fact, it looks like they're getting somewhere now.
So interesting, even the observers are liking his style, they're liking the way he's approaching this, they're liking what he's doing, which is to take control of the situation, and everything is very ordered.
It's time, so speed things up. Let's talk more tying, I think.
Classic there. Let's talk more time. So not interested in hearing any of the ideas from anybody else, just let's do what I've decided is the best way to do this, and let's make it happen.
If we do need to choose a leader ourselves, nominate Rob.
I would be totally happy with Rob. I would be totally happy with Rob. And actually, I think one of the reasons why we all kind of default to you, Rob, frankly, is because you have had the life experiences that are closest to what we're experiencing now.
I appreciate your confidence.
And a nice bit of self-organising there, I think, from this team.
No pressure.
No pressure, no.
But it is.
Stroke.
It's taken them over half an hour, but Dan Dewhurst's...
So it's taken them over half an hour to get this point. It's important that we remember these numbers because later we can translate these into cash, right? Into financial results as well. So it takes them over half an hour to get in the water.
team have built a raft and are on the water.
Yeah.
Dewhurst has done well. He was very clear in his instructions, and slowly but surely he's got that raft across the pond.
So clarity of instructions was a good thing. I mean, obviously that is a good thing, but what about the rest of his leadership style? What happened to this raft?
Dan, can you just lean forward a bit, mate?
Don't move, mate. I think we're just about at equilibrium.
What a stage. But they got a lot further than I thought.
I desperately want to proceed to...
So they're bringing in the radio here. They're swimming the radio in. They're swimming back various bits of the raft. Some of it left out there. They're soaking wet, but they've achieved the outcome. The outcome was to get to there and come back again, everybody, and to collect the radio.
Training. I really, really want this. Whether I deserve it on that performance is another matter, but I really would love to continue. I feel like I'm learning all the time. If I was given another opportunity to that task, I'm confident I would make it a great success. But that's life, isn't it? You don't always get two shots.
How do you feel?
Wet.
Terrible.
Okay, wet, terrible. Anything else?
Disappointed?
Do you know, we need to give ourselves a bit of credit, though, the fact that we managed to get all the way there virtually with that thing. We did well,
yeah,
you
none
know.
of us have any raft making skills.
Exactly,
so
you
we
know.
could...
Again, so here they're focusing. They thought the task was to build a raft. No, the task was to retrieve the radio and to get themselves there and back. But they're focusing on the output rather than the outcome.
Put something together to get us there.
We didn't do it, but, you know, we can give ourselves a bit of credit.
Yeah.
For the second team, the same mission. But despite their plans to promote COPSI, the instructors want to put someone else under the microscope.
Right, you're the leader.
Thank you, Mum. Right, guys, let's head on. So should we collect the items, see what we've got first?
Now, rather than starting in with commands, she starts in immediately with asking questions and giving people an opportunity to contribute. And it gives this guy here an opportunity to put into action one of the instructions, which was you can use anything you find in the vicinity of the pond.
Everything up. So everybody grab something and let's go.
We've got water bottles here.
As quickly as we can, guys.
Even though Vicky Wright is in charge,
So we need to make a frame, guys.
No, let Ali go first.
What do you think? Make a frame?
Make your frame.
other voices quickly emerge.
Bottom or sides.
I think they'll be on the... you can do either or.
Again, I find it fascinating that they are implying that that is a bad thing, that other voices are emerging, but...
Let's bring some ropes round. Let's get these. Let's make a frame first.
Yeah, square first.
Let's make a frame, guys. Just leave that there for a minute. Let's go that way. I like the way you're thinking. So we can try that, but we don't overcomplicate this.
There is no leader. It's meant to be right. Copsey took over right from the outset.
Again, they've got a real problem with this. They've got a real problem that the team is not behaving the way they want the team to behave, rather than focusing on whether they're actually going to achieve the outcome.
And everyone has been throwing their views and opinions and thoughts in, so
That's a good thing, guys. That's a good thing.
it's a bit of a cluster, basically.
But they don't think so. They think that's a bad thing.
As well as looking for people with clear leadership qualities, SOE needed recruits who would take their time and assess the whole situation.
And that's the thing. That's what I love about learning about the SOE, is that they were looking for people who were using their imagination, who were using their initiative, who were thinking. They were stopping and thinking. They were working together as teams by thinking and sharing what they were thinking about. Look what happens.
Luckily for Vicky Wright, she has maths graduate Alistair Stanley on her team. He's the only person to carry out a full search of the area.
Now, maybe what would happen is that we would think, well, that's a waste of time. No, come here, help me. I wonder whether if he was working with the first team, he would have been allowed to go and do this search. So we think that's a waste of time. We've got the pieces in front of us. Let's get on and let's not waste any time in building the raft. That's what we would think. But always there's an alternative. And he finds a raft.
All right, guys, there is a ready-made raft.
Where?
Just sitting in the brushes over there. We could paddle it round.
Go and get it.
So how many times have we been in situations where we have found this great way of doing things as a great idea, and we come back and bring it to the team just to be told by the leader, no, we can't do that. This is the job. Forget all of that. That's an outside thing. Luckily, this team's smart enough to go, that's a better idea. Let's implement it immediately. Let's pivot. Let's inspect. Let's adapt. Let's get on with achieving the outcome.
Okay, let's scout this out.
SOE always hid a ready-made raft just out of sight, to see who was smart enough to look for it.
Good stuff.
Okay, it's quite heavy. I've got the raft.
Nice one.
But look how calm everything is as well. This is what I love about this, is that when you allow all the brains to think, when you allow everybody to input, then what happens is you find that you are all working together, and actually there's a calmness about the approach, and there's a calmness in the team as you can see that you're moving towards your outcome.
Using the raft, they make short work of the task, running relays until the entire team and the radio has made it to shore.
Well done, guys. Bloody amazing. Well done.
Well done, Vic.
Well done, guys. Good work. Selection, obviously, just round the corner. I just hope I've done enough. I've tried my best in all of it, so I know no matter what the outcome is, there's not a lot more I could have done.
I thought that was utterly chaotic.
And this is the challenge. They find it utterly chaotic because it wasn't following the program that they had in their minds as to how it should be achieved. So they seem to really struggle with that. And I think a lot of leaders find that when we're working in Agile teams, they look at it and they think it's chaotic. It's actually not. It's actually really well organized. It's just not following the path, this direct path between plan and implementation that we try and that many leaders try and implement and try and get people to stick to. Basically focus on the outcome. What was the outcome? The outcome was to pick up that radio and to get everybody across and bring them back. How that was achieved was up to the team.
But interestingly, of course, at the end, in 22 minutes, they'd achieved their mission.
And there we go. In 22 minutes, they achieved their entire mission, whereas it took more than 30 minutes just to get the raft in the water. And it's so easy for us to then start to apply some math, some financial data to this as to what the difference is between the two teams. One team took probably twice as long to achieve the outcome or to achieve the objective and got completely soaking wet. So a lot of cost that went into that, whereas the Agile approach here was done in less than half the time probably, with everybody feeling positive and excited and motivated and looking forward to doing something else. And still these guys are trying to say that the second approach was wrong.
They'd achieved their mission.
Other team was much more organised, but ended up soaking wet.
Defies expectations, really.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It defies expectation. That's the thing that we see so often, is that we need to help our leaders, we need to help the executives, we need to help managers to understand that actually what appears chaotic is actually not. And if we could actually run some experiments, we can prove, almost every single time, we can prove that a proper agile approach is going to be far more effective, far more efficient. It's going to cost a lot less than trying to do things the traditional bureaucratic way, where we're trying to stick to a plan the whole time. I hope this has been of some interest to you. When I watched this story the first time, it blew me away as to what we could do with that in terms of learnings and so on. And what I'm looking to do is to spend more time looking for games, looking for physical games like this, and looking for virtual games that we can play where we can put teams side by side, a team that is going to be running in a bureaucratic way and a team that's running in an agile way, and let's see what those results are, because I'm suspecting that the more we do this, the more we will find that we'll actually have some real financial data that we can extrapolate to show people that actually this is a much better way of doing things. Anyway, until the next video, I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.